Hello there everybody, HeroicLegend here, and we are playing Immortal Unchained. I technically have to say again, because there is actual randoms of this up. I think. I do not remember. We're going to sit on the screen for a little bit while I give you some backstory. You might hear this, I'm going to gently put the controller down, and I'm going to explain a few things about this. I don't know where I stand when it comes to Immortal Unchained. Don't get me wrong, it's trash. For the immortal words of a YouTuber I respect and like a lot, you should watch more of his stuff. It's trash, but it's the type of trash that I can still consume or enjoy. There are plenty of things to enjoy about Immortal Unchained. The ragdoll physics, for one, can be very humorous, especially when you pop off an enemy's leg. Let me actually fucking jump into the game right quick. Well, you guys know I'm serious too when I'm talking like this. Gotta jump into the game first. I'm mostly doing it so we can stop hearing that music, because, you know, there's a lot more music in this game than I remember. It's very strange. It's very odd. Oh, if you do hear anything in the background, I do apologize. Where I am at, we keep getting flashlight warnings. You'd think the one would be enough, but occasionally they have to send out numerous. There's probably a reason for that, and it probably results in people who won the Darwin Award. Anyway, I will continue now that we are actually in the game. And some of you may have already discovered my problems with the game. There's so much good and so much bad about this game. There's so much satisfying and so much to hate. It's super polarizing to me. But there's a game I have for comparison, at least something that I've played, and something that you will never see on the channel because I desperately wish I could refund it. And no, it's not Lost Planet 3. Although I desperately wish I could refund that one. That game just hurt. I guess you could sort of consider this a review of the game. So I'm gonna do my best to give you the rundown, because I've almost beaten this game. There's a reason I said almost. And it hurts me every time I have to say this. Warning, for in case anyone hasn't played this and wants to, I don't think there are many people out there playing this, like, at least depending on your criteria for how you watch YouTubers. Me and Jamers is a little bit more critical of people. We go based off of, like, voice, enthusiasm, couple other things too. So, yeah. In Immortal Unchained, you play as this... I don't even know how to describe him. Like, even when I actually went through listening to all the bits of dialogue, looking through the items and all this, I, like, half dazed through it. And part of it was rage, part of it was joy, part of it was confusion. Just a lot of confusion. The gist of the story I got is we're fighting something, and there's a big boss at the end. There's your story. Now, the gameplay aspect of this is very simple, and I will very briefly show you. This is your character. You can customize them to be however you want, and women can have mustaches and beards. In fact, I can step out for a quick second. I've proceeded to do things I did not want to do, and that is because I am going through controller schizophrenia yet again. But as you saw there, I just healed. You may look at this and be like, huh, well this is actually very interesting, Heroic. I think I might want to take a try at this. Do know I am, like, very high level. Hold on there, sir. There we go. Again, this is the gameplay. You point at things you want dead, you press the shoot button, you shoot, they die. Most of the time. The enemy you saw there was a shielded enemy, and the enemy you saw me shoot after that was a explodey enemy, who will happily run up to you, leap to you, explode, and then hope he catches you in the crossfire. Yeah. Anyway, now that I'm back in safety, well, relative safety, allow me to continue. You also saw I have a melee weapon, which is separate from my gun. The melee weapons are... There's no nice way to say this, and this is, again, my personal opinion, so if you feel the need to come at me, just always remember, I am a human. I am filled with human things, and I do have emotions, and I'm actually really sensitive, surprisingly. Right. The shooting is perhaps the best and worst thing about the game. Because sometimes it's accurate, and sometimes I've shot and the bullet just decided to disappear into the aether the moment it made contact with my enemy. And I don't mean into the enemy, I mean it just gone. Like the wind. Like a ghost bullet. Someone's probably made a rap about that already. I hope they have, at least. I would find it funny. I'd give it a listen. Anyway. The melee weapons are literally there for, I believe, executioner style, where you downed your opponent, you run up to them, you stand over them, and you proceed to beat their body in with your weapons. They do not break shields. They do not provide much in terms of range combat, except to make you look like a dummy when you miss the melee enemy while the ranged enemy goes and shoots you. There are a lot of ranged enemies, so I don't know why they wouldn't have just made that, like, a sidearm slot and give the other gun slots, like, different classifications, like LMG, sniper, shotgun, assault rifle, SMG, rocket, grenade, a little remote that lets you call in tactical nuclear strike. Look, there's a lot of things they could have done in the game, okay? There's a lot. But I'm not going to ramble on to that. I sincerely wanted to love this game. I did. I played through it a lot. I showed my friends. I literally bought my PlayStation over when I first got it, on the PlayStation as well. And I wanted to show them, hey, this is Immortal Unchained, watch me play through it, let's all have fun. Like, maybe laughing at my misfortunes, let's play, let's have, you know, I'll show you guys something entertaining. I basically was let's playing for them IRL. Nothing ever really came from that, which I should have known, but, you know, hopeful. And I spent a lot of time on this game, despite what, you know, popular belief from what my Steam page says, because I played it a lot on the PlayStation. And it's went through a lot of updates, a lot of things to change things. The whole first area is drastically different. It went from minor exploration, which I did kind of not like, to hand-holding for the tutorial, so you don't miss anything. And yet at the same time, it's still, like, not the best. But it does give you quite a few things to... oh, goodness. Again, this is the problem with me liking it and me not liking it at the same time. I want to praise it for things that it does well, and I want to also damn it for things it does poorly. Because that's the whole point, right? And the short and simple of it is this. As a Souls game, it ticks the boxes, right? So what does a Souls game need to have? It needs to have your currency and experience are tied to one thing. And that is true. Or in Salt and Sanctuary's case, because I do love that game, and I think that game deserves more love, your currency there is used for different things, but your level up and your upgrade stuff are tied to one thing, right? You have a limited number of healing items, though sometimes you can find other healing items around the world map and stuff. Depends on the type of Souls game you're playing, if they want to really damn you, but even the ones that you can't find super healy stuff, or like you don't get as much healy stuff, you can still like kinda find other ways to heal, or they give you at least a plentiful amount of main healing supplies. The syringe you saw me inject by accident when I hit Y instead of any of the other buttons. Why I hit Y, I don't know. But, getting back to the topic. Combat. Combat is very Souls-like. It's very slow pace, which is strange because Bloodborne's faster pace showed that like gunfighting can be very useful in that game if you time things right. And I think that's another really big problem I have. The gunfights are too slow for guns. Enemies are either like they take more than. Okay, so you saw how the shotgun took like what 3-4 shots to take down that big dude. In any other game, this sniper would like one pop to the head and you'd see the ragdoll instantly, like just gone. I would have deleted their childhood memories and any semblance of their mother's face from the memories, as well as anything else while they were slowly dying. But generally, even in like most shooters, a body shot would still render them like super hurt, but still able to act. The amount of times I've sniped enemies and they have not died are way bigger than I care to admit. And this is with an upgraded sniper at that, before anyone judges me and like, oh, you probably didn't upgrade things right. I upgraded things, my dude. I did. Trust me on this one. I promise you. And that's another big problem. The game intends for you to grind. I know this because reviews will literally say, I had more fun on a second playthrough when they were overpowered or actually ready to handle the areas than when they were first going through. It's very Dead Rising acting in that aspect, where your fun more comes from resetting the cycle, going through it again, but stronger and better and faster. Hell, case point of this, I went through on a character that I was trying to be optimal with, and I was having an incredibly rough time getting through this. But when I stayed and grinded in a spot until I was like level 20, level 30, I had so much more fun going through the area because I was more prepared for it. Grinding felt easier because you grind it out early, but the problem is you never stop grinding. You never get to cruise along. Every area you're going to be grinding for something, either weapons, levels, or just like extra item stuff, right? And that's my problem. In Dark Souls, I organically found the things along my way, and I could choose to use them on my path, or I could go to a merchant to buy the stuff. And that actually might have also super helped this game out, a merchant NPC. Someone I could just go to and be like, hey, I'm gonna sell this stuff, and I'm gonna buy this stuff from you. And he goes, hey, thanks fam. By the way, can you keep an eye out if you see the magical pocket of super pockets, and if you give that to me, I'll have more stuff for you because I'll be able to go out and explore more. Basically an NPC to do the grinding for you for, like, weapon grinding. And my biggest complaint when it comes to the grind is the lore items. I get it. A very big staple of a Dark Souls game is having your lore interwoven with the... well, funny enough, with the items. But they took that premise and ran with it the wrong way. Don't give me lore items. I don't care about lore items. I care the description of my gun. What does my gun have to say? I got this gun from, let's say this sniper, right? I opened this chest and I found it, and it's like, Lord, I'm blanking on names. I only have the recent characters I've made. Hang on. Oh, let's say the long shot of Michael Guillotine, right? And the description with that would read like, Michael Guillotine's favorite sniper rifle. This gun has been rumored to have slain numerous foes across several battlefields, passed down from generation to generation, each son being named Michael as an honor to his legacy. When the final Michael passed away without child, he hoped that this gun would find its hands in a suitable owner. Something like that, Or let like a pistol I found off a body be like, the corpse warden's pistol. This pistol was assigned to all wardens in the dark times to help control prisoners whenever they got rowdy, though some of these wardens would become corrupt and throw around their power and weight and willingly shoot inmates just to teach them a lesson for looking at them wrong. That's like, oh wow, I want to go look through more of my guns. I want to go see what my other guns have to say. Or like broken shotgun of Alois, and it's like, this shotgun was Alois's last tool in his last stand. Some say that even when the barrel broke in half, it just gave him more chances to kill his enemies before he was finally slain. But getting past that, and going on to more gameplay, I like that there's no cover-based shooting. You want to know how you take cover? You go behind that wall, and then you aim at it so you can kind of poke out a bit, and then, you know, you take a shot. But that also breeds the ever-present invisible wall syndrome, where my bullet shot from my gun and proceeded to hit the invisible wall instead of my target. There's also the case of ammunition in general. I don't mind limited resources, or to go to my bonfire to restore those limited resources. But you dare give me melee weapons that only serve when you're fighting really melee-based enemies or enemies who have low stun resist, and expect me to travel through to the next checkpoint when my only tools are depleted. Oh, just use an ammo box, forehead. I would rather be able to carry all my ammo with me and have to worry about looking and finding that ammo. That's another thing you could have replaced with friggin' lore items. Just give me, like, let me search up places for ammunition for the specific weapon classes and hold it on me. Yes, it would make the game easier, definitely, because then you could just use your favorite gun all across the thing. But what about but think about this. You go through a large chunk of area. You're like a large chunk, right? I'm gonna make up a spot, right? It's not in the game. At least I don't think it is. But let's say I'm going through the Immortal's blazing desert, right? Imagine how pissed I'd be if before I found a checkpoint, or worse, if I missed a checkpoint, and I'm looking at my sniper rifle and it has 2 bullets left. And I'm looking at my shotgun, and I have about enough to take down maybe 1, 2 enemies if I play it really well. And my melee weapon is just, you know, not useful because everything has shown to be long-distance enemies. And by the time I run up to them, I will be filled with enough bullets to render my chest a puzzle piece. And you die, and then you get kicked all the way back to even before you entered the desert. And you're told, do it again from the top, dickhead. That's how that feels. That's legitimately how I felt numerous times when playing this around my first playthroughs. Across PlayStation and PC. But then, Heroic, why are you playing this now? I'm playing this to show you guys. Because this is one of the things I do in my off time. This is one of the games I wanted to go back and try to play and try to beat. This character right now is Chuck Davison. And I truly believe he might be the guy to beat the game, because I've learned from my past mistakes. And I want to clarify something too. I've played Dark Souls, all the Dark Souls games, and every single one of them I have had to start over at one point because I messed up horribly. So I do not damn the game for that. I myself, as someone who plays these games, you know, maybe is not the best, but as someone who plays them, know that I am not allowed to criticize the game for making me start over. What I am allowed to do is criticize the game for having difficulty that feels blatantly unfair. Now, why do I say that? There is no gun that has shield piercing. There are no shields. You block damage by not getting hit. But your dodge, and this is where Jamer's biggest point of contention came into play. I'm going to show you this screen. I'm gonna use my mouse to scroll over things. This is finesse. So you see with finesse, you have reload speed. You have reload speed, and it's just a thing for weapons, right? Okay, reloading your weapons faster. It's obviously something you want in a game like this, especially when you have weapons that you have to literally, like shotguns, where you have to reload the shells one by one. You have perception, more critical damage bonus. Okay, that's nice. I hit a critical spot, I do more damage. I wish more games had this type of scaling, because it makes it more rewarding for people who play risky, who go after the critical hits, who wait for an enemy to swing and then dodge into them and then smack them around, right? I'm fine with that. Strength. Strength is purely melee weapon scale. Someone did beat this game, melee only, and they are the most insane person ever, and I do not want to meet them in a dark alleyway, because I might lose all my toes and not know how it happened. That's a joke, of course, but... Agility. This is where the anger comes. Dodge skill increases the efficiency of your dodge roll, making it easier to avoid attacks. Med pack speed decreases the time it takes to use a med pack. I'm fine with the med pack speed. In fact, I almost encourage that. That makes it feel rewarding to literally see my skills go, my healing go up faster because I invested time into making it faster so I could get those clutch heals, right? But that is only for the med pack. That is not for the standard heal, the TSM syringe as it is called in this game. So if I've run out of those med packs and I'm relying on a syringe to heal me up, I get to eat shit. Yeah, I just literally get to eat shit. But the dodge skill. My invulnerability frames should come as a reward for me timing my dodge right. I should not either earn extra frames, or however this game calculates it, based off a stat that has nothing to do with my primary form of removing obstacles. This is a stat for running. This is a stat for running and avoiding combat, which for some games you can beat on level 1. I truly do not believe you could ever beat Immortal Unchained at the lowest level possible. And if you can, and you can do it cursed, you are a mad person and I don't want to meet you. Jokes aside, I have extreme issue with this, and so does Jamer. My dodging, my ability, my only way to avoid taking damage, besides hiding behind a rock, should not be tied to a stat that again, and I'm going to go over the other stats to show why this is such a big deal, right? It should not be tied to a stat that literally had, I believe, the med pack speed was just thrown on there to make it not look dumb. Because in toughness, health increases your health pool, making able to withstand more damage before dying, and flinch reduction. That makes sense. If I'm shooting someone up close, which means they got up close, I don't want to get knocked out of me being able to shoot them because, you know, I don't have enough flinching reduction. I'm fine with that. And again, health is a resource that we're all going to use up at some point. You can't avoid the bullets forever. You're not going to see traps sometimes. And sometimes an enemy's going to be able to target you from a long distance. That's another thing I'm going to bring up in a second. Endurance, stamina, and stamina recovery. This gets my because I like that as a stat. This is a good stat. I really appreciate this. Having stamina and stamina recovery as one thing you level up is beautiful. I level up stamina in other games because I want to be able to do more stuff. But if I don't have the Chlorothy ring or the shield, or I, took the herbs, then it doesn't come back as fast. It comes back standard, right? So I like that that's a stat that can be raised up and is raised up along with my stamina. It makes me feel like the investment I put into my stamina has been rewarded. Now the problem is stamina is used for strictly dodging. I believe your special abilities that each gun has, and melee attacks. So you could argue its usefulness, but also running. And sometimes, like I said, you want to run out of spots or you want to run into better cover. Expertise, healing efficiency, and weapon scaling. Another stat I don't mind, but I do have gripes about. Healing bonus, I don't mind that being, a stat, because that literally it makes sense from a tactical standpoint. If I have more expertise, I know how to better apply my healing, right? I know a better spot to inject the needle. I know I know exactly how to get it right into the vein on the first try. It makes sense. And again, knowing your weapon inside and out, having expertise with it, at least for the naming conjecture, it makes sense, right? And again, it's nice that they tied two useful stats together. Insight and energy. Tied to what? Makes sense. A special weapon's going to be better at using its special ability rather than just, anything. But it also does make me sad because that means if you like how some of your normal weapons are, and you want more energy to use their special abilities, you're gonna have to invest here. But it's not horrible. It's not. In fact, I still say agility is the single-handed king of worse. And actually, you could have just dropped finesse entirely, attached reload speed to this instead of dodge speed, and attach medpack speed, and boom. But that's me. Now, I had mentioned earlier about enemies getting a redone. This has the Dark Souls Bloodborne problem of the enemies have lock-on too. Now, if they didn't have lock-on, that'd make them far too easy to go around and backstab or get the critical hit, so I don't mind that. What I do mind is they have actually changed their attacks mid-attack to aim and smack me. The shield sword-wielding opponent you saw me kill legitimately mid-air will break its spinal column or its robot parts to turn mid-air and still smack down on me, and I will still get hit by that even if I dodged when one would normally dodge. Then there's also just the pure fact that some enemies' attack patterns randomize. You know, now again, this is a thing that other games do as well. Sometimes the enemy will wait a bit. I'll use Dark Souls with the shield skeletons, right? With the shield undead. Sometimes, you know, like they'll wait behind their shield and they'll hold it up to you, giving you a chance to kick them down. Sometimes they'll pull back for a big hit, or sometimes they'll just go swinging wildly. But the point is, you can learn those. I have literally fought enemies that will pause for a moment, shoot me, and then just be like, shoot me again immediately after, giving me no break, right? Now, again, that makes sense. It's a gun game. It has guns in the game. But how does it make any sense that these guys will shoot me, pause, and then shoot me again when they could have just had one continuous fire, basically emptying their clip to assure that they got me, or that it makes it hard for me to dodge? The pause serves no purpose there except to mess up players. It's literally anti-player right there. And some enemies are just ridiculous. Like, I feel like they have different damage values at times. And I'm talking about like they're strong. And that's another thing. There are actually stronger versions of the earlier enemies, but they have no differentiating factor between them besides the fact that they're in a different area. That drives me nutty. And that drives me actually nutty. And my biggest gripe about this game is the upgrading system. Once again, I will show you for this. So what you might notice is, and also this right here. I'll explain this in a second. But first, this is aspects. These are your kind of ring slot for a Souls game, right? Dodge speed, extra HP, better weapon scaling, better damage with certain weapon classes, take reduced damage when low, gain damage reduction and stability when using a syringe, all nice stuff, right? Gain spare ammo when you kill an enemy, mostly useful for snipers, but you know. Besides these aspects, which you only get 3 of, they are rare, hard to find, or are rewarded after boss fights. There is no armor. Your armor is restricted to armor upgrade shrines. And outside of a Metroidvania, I have no idea what you would do. Especially in a game like this. I was talking to Jamer at one point about how this game could be improved. And one of the things on the top of the list was have armor. Have 3 different types of armor. Scouting armor, SWAT armor, and Juggernaut armor. And they're the 3 different armor classes. Light, medium, slow. Have, instead of aspects, have armor like have spots in the armor that you can socket with those aspects, so they're more an accessory and an add-on than just taking up a whole thing selfishly to itself. Also, it gives you a sense of uniqueness, of changing up your playstyle. At this point, you're always going to be the same person by the end of the game as when you started, and you have no option to cover up anything. And again, the armor could do different things, very similar to Surge. One armor could be better at recovering your stamina or healing you slowly, you know, by you standing still or doing something. You could even make a whole set parrying Call of Duty. Have the baby camper armor, and you put if you stay in a corner for long enough, you'll start to slowly regenerate health after a bit. Get the full set, it recovers much faster. Another thing that I actually just thought of right now, there's no crouching. There's no crouching, there's no running, there's no jumping. A lot of the fun parts, I'm gonna just use Vanish, because Vanish apparently came back into recent media, and I'm super happy about that, because maybe that means gonna get Vanish too. I like Vanish. Vanish was how I want gun games to be like. You run around, even though you don't get to change your armor, you run around, you shoot, it feels good. Going into cover feels good. Jumping out of cover feels good. Running across the field to shoot at people while the side feels good. It all feels good. I feel powerful. Sometimes in this game, I go into a new area, and I'm like, well, I'm too overpowered for the previous area, that unless I want to sit down for 3 hours straight grinding out the same 5 enemies, that's a no-no. Or I go to a new area and get my face pushed in 8 times until I finally find the pattern that works. If it does work, because sometimes it doesn't. And I hope that I don't get stomped by an enemy who I did not see. Twice, because remember, Souls-like. All this ranting, and at the end of the day, what is it? Here's my full review of the game. Immortal Unchained is a game that has so much good in theory, good on paper, but they cut their ideas short for some reason. They didn't stop and ask, how would the player feel? How do we make how does the player feel? And I think a large part of Souls games is you want to make the players feel powerful the more they play and the later they get in the game. You want to make the players feel like they can handle the next challenge without much difficulty by spending that time that you would grinding, or by being crafty and you know, having ideas in your head. I love it when I see Dark Souls players want to go through an area but they feel like they're under level. So what do? They use bombs, throwing knives, my own tactics of luring enemies one by one closer to handle the threat one at a time. You know, all that stuff's just... But in here, they're only guns. And guns that don't have the ability to customize them as well, which was another missed opportunity there. So there's a lot of potential here, but a lot of it is missed. And I feel like if they were to ever... Well, first of all, the company's no longer in charge of what happens to this game, so at least I think they're not. But if they were to ever make a game like this again, I personally feel like I would love it if someone from the Souls community could be a part of it, or someone who's a big fan of it, just like with Salt and Sanctuary, where they were Dark Souls fans who went out to make something similar to how they love. And I wish I was better at Salt and Sanctuary so I could play it, and that it was easier to co-op. But that's small. Not a lot of people who are working on it, so I can't ask for much. I can't ask for the world. And what multiplayer we have was nice, unlike Immortal Unchained, which has none. But I think that's all for my ranting. The next video up will probably be another Immortal Unchained one, but this time less talking and more action, as I figure out what I want to do. But that's pretty much it. Again, it's Immortal Unchained, a game that I'm really sad I don't like as much as I feel like I would and should. And as an extra, I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, you know what to do. Much appreciated if you do. So I just want to say, laters.